Good morning to all. I am Geeta, Assistant Professor from ECE Department, Rogini College of Engineering and Technology. I am going to handle the subject on Communication Engineering. So now I am going to discuss about the topic on direct sequence spread spectrum. After completion of direct sequence spread spectrum, the students will be able to define DSSS, define the demodulation process of direct sequence spread spectrum. So first, what is meant by direct sequence spread spectrum? So DSSS is a form of spread spectrum transmission where this will be uses the spreading codes to spread the signal out over the wider bandwidth than would normally be required. So the spread spectrum modulation, this will be provide protection against externally generated interfacing signal with finite power. The technique behind direct sequence spread spectrum DSS is a first site counter, but the DSS is used in a number of areas. This will be enables the benefit to be gained. So the jamming signal, this will be mainly consist of fairly powerful broadband noise or multitone waveform. This will be directed at the receiver for the purpose of distributing communication. So if you are protecting the jamming waveform, this will be provided making the information bearing signal occupy a bandwidth with a minimum bandwidth necessary to transmit it. Each bit is represented by multiple bits using spreading code. The spreading code spread the signal over the wider frequency band. In proportion, the number of bits we have to use. So if you are spreading 10 bits across 10 times, so the bandwidth of the particular code is 1 bit. So one method of widening the bandwidth of an information bearing the data sequence is use the modulation. The data sequence B of t is used to modulate or wide band pseudo noise sequence C of t. By applying these two sequences to a product modulator or multiplier, we will get a combined input bit with a spreading code using XOR. The input bit 1 invert the spreading code bit. The input 0 bit does not alter the spreading code bit. The data rate, this will be almost equal to the original spreading code. The DSS performance is also similar to the frequency hopping spread spectrum. Then the direct sequence spread spectrum transmitter. So this is the diagram for the direct sequence spread spectrum. What is the process will be carried out means. So here the transmitter of the bandwidth signal may modulate M of t with binary phase shift keying. So the modulator signal X of t has wider spectrum than binary phase shift keying of B of t. But still X of t has either 0 or pi phase. The receiver demodulate the received signal Y of t with carrier to move the spread spectrum to baseband after passing through low pass filter will be recovered after despreading. Since both spread spectrum and BSK modulation are linear operation which can switch their order to make the problem easy to solve. So each bit in the spreading sequence is called as a chip. So here we are having some information. So this information will be shorter when compared to the other bits. So the spreading sequence or the chip sequence has the same data rate till the final output of the spreading multiplier. So the rate will be called as the chip rate. So this will be measured by the number of M bits. So the baseband data stream is then modulated onto a carrier, and in this way the overall signal is spread over a much wider bandwidth than the data has been simply modulated onto the carrier. So So this is because the signal with high data rate, this will be occupy wider signal bandwidth than those with low data rates. So this is signal we have to decode and receive the original data. So the CDMA signal is first demodulated from the carrier to reconstitute the high speed data stream. So the particular data will be multiplied with the spreading code to regenerate the original data. So if you are regenerating the original data, so the same spreading code will be regenerated. So the other data is generated from different spreading code streams is ignored. The quiz question is based on the direct sequence spread spectrum is in DSS the signal is recovered using dash method. Thank you.